One of the common questions that a lot of people ask is, how can you save money fast, especially when you are trying to hit a certain target within a certain time frame? And this is something that I know that a lot of people want to achieve, and they want to feel good that they were able to achieve that goal within that set time frame. Now, I have to be honest with you, I have set certain time frames for myself that were unrealistic, but I want to share with you some things that has helped me achieve my desired goals when it comes to saving to hit a certain time frame, or at least getting to achieve that goal that I set for myself. If you're new here, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. It goes a long way. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way as well. And let's start with this thing. The first thing, like I already mentioned, is setting a realistic expectation. The truth is, if you do not have a realistic expectation, your ability to hit that target will be much more difficult, and you don't want that process. It's already difficult enough to save because you have to make sure you're earning enough money. You have to probably cut back on certain expenses. You have to make sacrifices and all that stuff. So I don't want you to think that, without a proper mindset, that this would be achievable. It won't be achieved if you don't have the right mindset. So one of the first things I have on my notes here is budget and plan your purchases. This is something that a lot of people tend to do, or at least partially do. And I'll be honest as well, I partially do that budget part. But when it comes to planning my purchase, I actively do that part. Now, when it comes to me buying anything, it takes me maybe weeks to months, depending on how important that thing is. Of course, if it's something that is really important that I need for work, or that I need to, take care of an emergency right away, of course, that's a different situation. But when it comes to me buying a shoe, buying a belt, or buying a wristwatch, or buying something that I know that it's not a do or die affair, I plan that purchase. If I don't plan it, what will happen is that my money that is available to me will be spent, and of course that money is gone. So I don't try to do that. I try to plan my purchase, think about it, get opinions from my wife, try to get as much recommendation as to if I really need that thing. If I'm sure I need it, then of course I'll go ahead and buy it. And that's something that I also hope that you will be able to put to use. So before you buy anything, look at it, ask the necessary questions, make sure that you truly need it before you buy it. On the budget aspect of this though, what I do is this. Let's say I get paid a certain amount, say simple numbers, $2,000. I want to take 10% of that. I want to at least, mind you, this is after taxes, okay? I'm talking about what really comes into my account. After all the deductions, the 401ks and all that stuff, I want to take what really comes into my account and take at least 10% to be saved, minimum. Preferably, I'm approaching 30%. That is my desired number. But let's assume on a bad month, things are really going on, things are happening. Then of course, at least 10% is a good number to start with. So pay yourself first, like they say. The next thing is the rest of the money should go towards my expenses, like my normal expenses, my, light bill, internet, mortgage, all that stuff. Those ones should be covered by the rest of the amount. Now, whatever is then left over, I then have to think to myself, can I even save more from that amount that is left over? So if I realize I still have, let's say $500 left, how much do I need until I get paid again? And then I would plan based on that. So if I think I only need, based on my work schedule, right, considering I travel a lot, I have to eat out occasionally, I try not to eat out too much, then I have to plan to make sure that I have enough to cover my food and just those routine expenses within that next 2 weeks, depending on how often you get paid. So there's that budget aspect that I do. But like I said, I do not budget every dollar because, to be honest, it can be a bit unrealistic to say that you want to budget every dollar. It's possible, but it can be a little bit on the difficult side, especially depending on the type of work you do. You're in different places. You can't pack food for 3 days, 4 days. It becomes a little bit more challenging. So Be realistic with your expectations, be realistic with your budget as well. The next thing I want to pass on to you is reduce your expenses in line, with the budget. Of course, if you want to save more money, you have to reduce how you spend money. So reduce your expenses. If there are things that you can change in your expenses right now. So for example, are you paying for an expensive phone? Do you have an expensive car? Do you, have credit card debt that is really holding you back, that is, preventing you from being able to save as much as you want? Then this might be the time to really put extra money towards that and get it off before setting a new goal to be able to save money fast. The next thing I have here is increasing income. I think this is no brainer. They always say that the best way to be able to save money fast is actually to increase your income, which means, are you able to do some type of part-time job, overtime job, right? Where you maybe take on extra shifts at your job if you can, or if you can do a side gig, that may be a thing for you to do, to consider, because you're able to pull in more money with the same amount of 24 hours that everybody else has, right? So you're able to take on a little bit more extra responsibilities to get that money. The best thing, like I always say, is if you're going to increase your income, the best thing is to try to, I said that wrong. If you're going to be able to save money, the best thing is to increase your income. Save money fast, by the way. The next thing is, you can consider selling unused items, things that you don't use, things that you don't use anymore, that are not as of value to you anymore. You may consider selling them. The table that you don't use anymore, the shoes you don't use anymore, the clothes you don't use anymore, you may consider selling those to be able to make some more money. Now, this next one, I think there was an article that I saw. I can't remember exactly the number now, but it was surprising. About maybe 30 or 40% of people have subscriptions that they do not use, and they are paying for them on a monthly basis. And by the time you add up these expenses or these subscriptions, they total, a lot of money. Like even if it's $100 a month, that is extra money that could go towards paying down debt. That's extra money that could go towards saving money to hit your goal. That is extra money that could go towards, doing something more tangible, invest in it, right? So it is important to consider those types of opportunities, and that it requires you to look into your expenses. That requires you looking into your accounts to make sure that you are accounting for the subscriptions that you have. If it's something that you don't really use anymore, that you maybe only use once a month, maybe you don't really need it, or you only use it twice a month and it's not of use, gym memberships, Netflix, Hulu. There's so many of them right now that I can't keep up anymore. But the point here is look into those and take out those expenses, cancel them, and know that you are saving yourself a lot of money. Because by the time you do that over the next 12 months, that is, let's say that's $100. Let's assume it's $100 every month. That's about 12 months. That's $1,200 that could have been saved, invested, and at 8% return, that would turn into something tangible over time. This next one can be quite difficult depending on where you live, but shop around, all right, for things that you need. So let's assume that you want to buy. A good thing that I do is, let's assume you want to buy an equipment or a gadget. I look around for used one. A used one that is in good condition. I look around for those, because guess what? If it's in a good condition, then it serves the same purpose. I don't care if it's new. Same thing with like a car as well. If you want to buy a car, I don't care about a brand new car, at least at this stage of my life anyway. If I buy a used one that is in a great condition, that works for me. It's the whole purpose is to be able to get me from point A to point B. And you have to be realistic with your own needs as well, and really ask yourself, do you really need a new one of this item, especially if it's an expensive purchase, or can you go with a used one? If it's something that you really need a used one of, then maybe shop around to get a price match, get a discount, find ways to save, right? But when it's something that you can do with a used one, then maybe you should consider getting a used one. And that way you can save, 20%, 30%, maybe even 50%, depending on where you find this, because you might be able to buy it from somebody else that is just trying to get rid of it because they don't need it anymore. They bought a newer one. So these recommendations are things that I personally follow. They've helped me. And if you've stayed up to this point, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. I appreciate your attention, and I would love to see you in the next one.